Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're going to zoom in and focus in on what I call psychopathic planting, where this individual who is psychopathic in origin and in nature will essentially plant themselves in the environment in often very peculiar stances, poses, if you will, and how inadvertently, or really how in this positioning then, this planting then seeps in to your subconscious or your unconscious mind and causes you an altered perception, sort of a breaking down of your conscious barrier, and causes you to assimilate and process certain values or qualities to them. And before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out. I've received several emails, a bunch of emails that are asking about the donation button and where to find it. On the homepage of the channel here, you can go to the About and it will give you the PayPal donate now, which is like a small button in the right hand side. So it's kind of, it's not, really large, but you can just go there and you can make a donation. And please do donate to the channel. It lets me know that this has made a positive impact in your life. So furthermore, I want to get a little bit more in depth into what I call psychopathic planting, where these individuals, based on their desire and their skill to emotionally manipulate and control others, to get themselves quickly into a position of power, of influence, will position themselves and use body language and other sundry projections, if you will, of their energy into the environment to create or socially engineer a position of power, seduction, whatever it is that they want in that position. So if it's in a workplace, they want to be acknowledged as a position of power, a person of power, of influence, of being better than, being in the top rungs of the organization, a manager, supervisor, CEO, CIO, whatever it is. They will position themselves as such where, unbeknownst to you, you are being seduced or feeling or absorbing this projection from them. And this is sort of very elusive terminology, but if you have been around a psychopathic individual, you know that there's this sort of charisma or energy emanating out of them. It is not like your normal person. Sure, everybody has a personality and energy that comes from them, just as you might be around a violent criminal and you can sense and feel the energy around this person is quite tense, and you know that there is danger present, so you know to get away. So that is what we are talking about here. And then the positioning of this person and sort of what we call, they exude a lot of energy. They exude a certain charisma. They exude a certain air of confidence. So it is this exuding that we are referencing here. It is this energy that is coming off of them, which oftentimes people find difficult to extract themselves from. It is difficult for them to pull themselves away from. In other words, it can be very eye-catching. It can be very energy-catching, if you will. And I really do feel it's like your aura does get intermingled with their aura. So in other words, the energy that you are putting forth from your body, from your energy systems, and the energy that emanates, so everything from your intellect to your heart to your emotions towards all your processes, that are taking place in your organs, the chemical exchange. So all that's kind of taking place then sort of overlaps or commingles or intermingles with the energy of this toxic person. And oftentimes it is, some people label it as very evil, dark, vacuumous, like, in other words, sucking in like the way a vacuum tube with, you cannot pull yourself away. It's very difficult, or, you feel very affected by it. You don't have to be super empathetic to feel this. You can even be, psychopathic and feel this from another psychopath. In fact, psychopaths know when they are encountering another psychopath. They can tell They know how they operate. They can sense it. It's like what they call like a psychopathic radar, and they're able to determine who their targets are. So they know, this is something that they absolutely positively know about themselves. And it is pre-calculated and premeditated and deliberate, very deliberate, with which they are conducting their positioning, and what I call psychopathic planting. And so this energy, it is, some people label it dark, etc. It is very otherworldly. In other words, it's outside of the realm of oftentimes of a normal existence. In other words, it has the feeling of being very powerful. I use the word seductive, vacuumous. It's very, some people might say it's very enticing. They tend to get a lot of people through this psychopathic positioning on their bandwagon. In other words, people are easily manipulated or influenced to this and then give in, either consciously or subconsciously. So, and it's very, very deliberate, as we've mentioned. And if you have studied this or understand this type of person, or you're forewarned, you can see this as a trained observer. But to the untrained eye, the untrained observer, or those people who are uneducated, uninformed, that there are these types of people in the world, they are the people who become victimized, seduced, or drawn in by. And it can become very difficult to extract and very painful once you are hooked in to pull yourself away. It becomes a very difficult test, chore, concept to get away from it once you're kind of under the spell or around them in your proximity or your environment or your culture, your community, your dinner table, your neighbor. So I want to go into a little bit more of what this does and why it is such. So in other words, psychopathic positioning, meaning that they will place themselves at very unnatural positions and do very unnatural body language or behaviors, with which will give them the assimilation, or meaning, kind of the engineering that they are either seductive, a position of power, a social position of influence or impact or intelligence or beauty, whatever it is that they're wanting to manipulate. In other words, whatever the outcome is that they're wanting, have all eyes on them, all ears on them, all hearts on them, all other people's energy caught up in their energy. They will plant themselves in a very deliberate manner because they're able to ascertain exactly what this is. So the psychopath who has no conscience, no sense of morality, right or wrong, and wants to climb up in the world. They want to climb the social ladder. They want to climb the corporate ladder. They want to, climb up the uncorporate ladder. They want to climb up in relationships. They want to hoard others. In other words, they want to have a lot of people in their sphere of influence, because that is the best way for them to have power, is power in numbers. In other words, if you have a lot of people chit-chatting with them, talking with them, social media, Facebook following, Instagram, you name it, this is how they pull people in. And oftentimes people say that they love being around this person. They make them feel so good. They feel that they're part of this inner circle. They're feeling no pain. They're all laughing. They're all chit-chatting. They're in the it group. They have a way of creating this aura, if you will, around them, because this is how they operate. When we talk about an energetic field, now the energy, just as if you've been around a holy presence, you'll feel that you're in the presence of a holy person. A priest, a bishop, some of the, in the different religions, the different spiritual leaders, those people, you'll feel an energy emanating off of them that is part of their soul or their personality. You'll feel like you're in the presence of a divine or very calming light. Very good in nature, very comfortable, and you feel at one with, or you feel very good about yourself. You feel empowered by. You're in a positive presence and you feel uplifted. So these people, can, do that uplift, but then the drop. And let me tell you a little bit more about psychopathic positioning. So once again, it's an unnatural positioning where they're going to separate themselves out. What are some examples? Positioning themselves in a lobby, a place in near a dinner table, near a doorway, near some lighting, near the outside of a store, near a car. So in other words, they will become like a model or a role model in this. So most people would not position themselves, and very unnaturally positioning themselves there where everybody else is engaging in another behavior and they will stand out doing another behavior. So everybody is walking by. Here they are sitting on a bench in a lobby or a wall in a lobby and, separating themselves out from the group and, trying to position themselves almost very statuesque, like, if you will. There's an energy that comes off of these people which is going to snag your attention. Positioning themselves at positions in the table where they are trying to equate themselves with the head of the organization, head of the family, head of the relationship. In other words, dominating positions. And it's not just like someone who normally wants to be at the head of the table. It's an ascertained or seduced into position. Very much like it's a very one-directional relationship. In other words, they are here and you are only meant to be support or supply or talk about how good, wonderful, lovely, gorgeous, and compliment them, but everything else that you would, desire or deserve or expect to receive in return, you will not receive any that of which you give. So the compliments, support, acknowledgement, validation, gifts, you will not receive in return. But the positions of power and influence, you will see that they will, while everyone else is working, they are doing something else. So these are the types of people that, or everybody else is, taking care of dishes or taking care of, something at gatherings or in the restaurant or getting things together. They're the ones who are standing out and not participating in such, and kind of position themselves as with which they are the, the top person, if you will. In other words, above all, in sort of, in a command-like position. Or for men who have encountered women, in a very seductress, mistress type position where they are, desired, they are hooked in, and attracted to. Likewise, the same with a male, becoming very model-like. So become very well aware of that is how these people operate, to make an impression on the subconscious mind and form an impression where inadvertently, underneath your conscious awareness, you're ascribing a position of power to them. And realize that these value judgments, which you are making, oftentimes occur in a split second, very quickly. But a lot of people kind of give in, or they're used to chronically given in, because it's become automatic, or before they were not aware of that. So furthermore, if you have become victimized by this, realize that this is one of the tools with which they create power and influence, or seemingly so. Oftentimes it has nothing to do with reality. It is socially engineered by that person to take advantage of others and manipulate, and really to the point where you're not operating under your own conscious awareness. So in other words, it's creating a lot of victimization in others. In other words, people are not empowered by this. They're disempowered by this. They're seduced in. They are out of control. It is very out of worldly, like the change of behaviors that they can create in others that normally the person would not be participating in. So while you're under this influence, people start smoking and they've never been a smoker. They start eating things and they've never eaten that before. The non-smoker all of a sudden finds himself having to leave their workplace and start smoking, because this projection is so powerful. It's almost like a telepathic energy where it causes people to become really into a compulsive situation where either they'll compulsively masturbate, compulsively smoke, compulsively eat. Right, they're not able to kind of function. They will be out of control. And so this is part of the influence, but to the untrained eye, these are the people, but to the trained observer, you will begin to identify and know what is what, and then you will not get sucked in, and you will see how you are separate or distinct from, and not laid a victim to, not laid a waste to. And so I just hope that these videos do help, and these relate and resonate with your situations, and help you furthermore to heal yourself from this sort of lack of integrity, manipulation, which oftentimes takes place in the world, in society, in cultures, in communities, in families. And it's very important to extract yourself and get away from this very, very negative type of energy. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.